Hey everyone, it's Jeannie, and today I'm sharing this card featuring a bunch of Hero Arts products. I'm using the Together Window Fancy Die, the Floral Silhouette stamp, and the Better Together stamp set. I showed a background stamp that I didn't end up using. I thought I was going to, but I decided against it. So I'm starting off with my card and I'm doing a bunch of ink blending, and recently I've been completely obsessed with Googling different color palettes because I felt like I was in a rut picking the same colors over and over again, the same color scheme. And so lately I've been doing a lot of just looking up color palettes and picking ones that are kind of outside my comfort zone, ones that I would have never thought of putting together. I have been loving it. It's been so much fun, and I think if you take a look at my Instagram and some of the cards where I feature ink blending, you'll see different color palettes, and I think they're so fun. I picked out this one because I thought it was like kind of different. It has a bunch of colors I normally don't pull out. Like, I don't usually use forest moss and I don't use weather wood. Having those colors together totally was outside my comfort zone. I also have a speckled egg, shaded lilac, and dusty Concord. And of course, my first run through with my ink blending, it kind of looks messy, doesn't look really blended. And my trick with this is just to keep on going and going over the colors twice. So the first time through, it doesn't look great, it's kind of choppy, but my second time through, it really blends everything together and it's really nice. So I think that this color palette turned out well, and the trick is really just to saturate your paper and really just keep on blending. And it does help that my foam pads are very saturated with the inks as well, and it makes it easier to blend. I'm going to pull out the Together Window Fancy Die, and it's just basically to mark where I want things to go, because I will be using the floral silhouette stamps to kind of surround it and create a border. I'm gonna go ahead and stamp this and do a mirror of it, because I know that I'm gonna stamp it in black and then I can flip my panel around and stamp it again, so I don't have to arrange it multiple times. And I do stamp it a few times. One, because I need to re-ink my ink pad. I am just so lazy, and I'd rather just re-stamp than pull out my ink refiller to ink it up. I don't know. It's just me. There'll get to a point where I am so frustrated with it that I will re-ink it, but I usually will leave it up to the last minute. I pulled out a few of the smaller florals, and I'll be stamping it repeatedly using my MISTI, because I do want to create that mirror image by just flipping my panel, and everything is super symmetrical, which is awesome. I will be stamping all around and creating this border. This card was supposed to go up a couple of days ago, but I have been traveling. I just got back from Chicago and also Reno. I've been doing a lot of traveling in the first half of September, and now it's kind of slowed down. I don't have any more trips till December. And then after I got back, I also had this little craft pop-up thing near me in my neighborhood, and so I was just really busy. When I have plans ahead of time, I always end up creating a ton of cards and having everything scheduled out in advance, so I don't have to worry about it while I'm on vacation. It was great, except when I came back, I kind of was just really tired. I went ahead and cut out my Together Window Fancy Die on white cardstock because I will be coloring it up with Copic markers. I also pulled out the Hero Arts Circle Infinity dies, which are a staple in my craft room. I think that I have had this set of dies since I started crafting, only because you always need essential shapes. So if you are starting out with card making, definitely get shapes. Circles, rectangles, squares. Like, those are the basic ones. For my little circle that I will be using the dies with, I decided that I wanted to create a frame. So I pulled out 2 of the circle dies on a piece of white cardstock. I covered it up with Versamark ink and then used Hero Arts gold embossing powder all over, heat set it, and then I'm using those 2 circle infinity dies to cut out a circular frame for my Together Window Fancy die. For that particular die, it doesn't cut out the circle, so you have to cut it out yourself. So I chose a circle that was just a little bit bigger than the Together Window die and cut it, so then I would have it stuck together and I went in with a pair of scissors so I could snip off the space between the hands. And I really wanted to do that because I just wanted to open the window up a little bit more, and I'll be connecting everything with the frame so it doesn't look weird, like hands are kind of floating. The frame will kind of ground it all, and this was really easy to do. It is a little bit delicate, so I was just careful not to cut the wrong areas. And once I have that all ready, I will be using my Copic markers to color this up. I use a variety of different colors because I wanted to represent the human rainbow, and I just pulled out a bunch of my E markers for my Copics, and I just combined them all together. So I used some lighter colors, I used some darker colors, and I will be coloring this up. I don't do anything super fancy. I just kind of go in with the darkest color around the shadow areas, which is usually around where the hands are kind of holding each other, so there would be shadows there, and then around the outside of the arm area. So then I'll just go ahead and color up the rest. Nothing too super fancy, but I definitely wanted to show a few of these color combos, and you know what, I probably don't even know which ones I used for what hands. Mainly because I just looked at my E markers and just pulled a bunch of colors that I thought would blend well together. And sometimes I just do that. I test it out when I have a lot of images that I'm going to be coloring in the same kind of different shades of brown, different shades of like beige, and yeah, just color along. So sometimes you can test out your different Copic combos just by playing around, and this is what I do. And if it doesn't work, you can always just go in with a color that you are comfortable with. So I will be finishing this coloring, and I was really excited to share this card because Hero Arts had reached out to me to do a guest blog post. So that blog post will be up, and I also have a second card which I really love as well. I used some of the products from their Unity collection in both this card and the card that will also be on the blog, and I'll have a short reel for that one that I will post in a couple of days, maybe even tomorrow. I'm not really sure. I went ahead and pulled out the Better Together sentiment from the Better Together stamp set, and I thought that this was a great sentiment for this particular card, but I don't do stamp surgery, so I will mask off half of it, stamp that on vellum. I will be heat embossing it in gold so everything kind of is cohesive, and then I will heat set it. So after I stamp out Better, I will line up the Together right underneath, and this just works better for my card. Sometimes if you don't want to do stamp surgery, you can go ahead and mask it off. Just remember to pull off that mask before stamping, or you're going to transfer the ink that is on the mask onto your vellum or cardstock. So that's what I did, and then I just went ahead and added gold embossing powder on that. I'll heat set it, and for this particular sentiment, I thought that it would be best for me to fussy cut around the letters because I didn't want to do a square or a rectangle because I thought it would cover up too much of the hands, and I really didn't want that. I spent all that time coloring. So I'm going to go ahead and just fussy cut around it, and it's vellum, so it's a bit see-through as well, so you're not covering up too much. Anyway, once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and add glue all over the back of my little hands and the little frame, and I'll be placing it right in the middle of my card, and everything comes together so well. I am so happy with this, and then I'll add my sentiment in the middle. And because I stamped this sentiment on vellum, I wanted to run it through my Xyron sticker maker so I could add adhesive behind it. For vellum, if you add glue, you can definitely see it through the vellum and it just doesn't look that great. So my Xyron sticker maker is such a lifesaver for those situations. Then I decided that I wanted a little bit more of those tiny small florals, so I'm going to be stamping it in some of the open areas. I am so happy with how this card turned out, so I will leave the link to the blog post that I did for Hero Arts down below. I'm so excited. This is the first time I'm kind of guest designing for them. I really hope that they liked how I used their products, especially their Unity collection. This is my finished card. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye!